Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well and hope that Christmas was bearable. I know that Christmas is a very hard time for a lot of people. I find it hard because two of my breakdowns were actually over Christmas, so there's always this like immense feeling of pressure to now be okay and make sure that it's a really good Christmas for my children and stuff. So yeah, I think that Christmas can be tough. So, and in a way, as much as I love Christmas, I'm kind of glad that it's over now because it feels like this immense build up. And I think it's more so because of the kids that I feel like everything needs to be perfect, but that level of pressure is a lot. Sorry I haven't done a video in a while. I kind of like talked about it on my Instagram, but since September, when my daughter has gone back to nursery, we have been ill constantly and it's really frustrating. It's really been getting me down. They're both asleep in the back there. But yeah, since she's been back in September, we have literally, I'm not even kidding, coughs, colds, sickness bugs. I've had laryngitis, tonsillitis. Just, I haven't had a break in about 3 months. Like, it's literally been back to back. I get over one thing and then something else comes. The same with the kids as well. So it's been really tough. I've been exhausted. So I'm trying to really, and it's really frustrating actually because I feel like I do everything like right in terms of like supplements and nutrition and stuff. But I think just the lockdowns and the fact that I had COVID in August, my immune system is just like, and also I got engaged the other day as well. Yeah, I've been like planning my wedding because we're going to get married in the summer. So yeah, anyways, but I'm here, I'm back now. And I want to talk about the Googling type of health anxiety. So I have another video if you haven't seen it. I posted it maybe about 2 weeks ago, and it's the like reassurance seeking type of health anxiety. Now I did explain that, you know, we're not exclusively just one of these things. Like, some people are an avoider and a Googler and a bit of a reassurance seeker. Some people find that they're predominantly a Googler. So we all kind of like have like different traits. But in this video, I'm going to talk about people who are predominantly Googlers. So first and foremost, why do we Google? So we Google, right, because when we are worried about something, so when we're triggered, so if I'm sat there and I have a twitch in my leg, in my calf muscles, and I'm like, that's a bit worrying, like what could that be? Now my brain, right, in that moment wants to figure it out. It's not satisfied with me just leaving it, even though ideally that's what we want to strive for, right? We want to get to a point where we can just let it go and just not even really pay attention to it. But we have health anxiety, so what we do is we really focus on that twitch, and we start to have an influx then of what if thinking, catastrophic thoughts. Oh my gosh, what if it's this? What if it's that? What could this be? I need to be responsible now, and I need to go and figure out what it is. So in that moment, we feel as though we're doing the right thing because we feel like we're keeping ourselves safe. We feel like I need to go figure out what it is so that I can make an informed decision. So what we'll do then is we'll go onto Google, we'll type the symptom in, and because we are already in an anxious state of mind, we'll look down the list of things that come up and we will see the worst one and we'll identify with it. So if I'm looking down the list and I'm like, and I see brain tumour or I see ALS, I'm going to look at that because that's the worst one. That's the one that's going to require me to take action and panic. So I'll look at it and I'll think, right, okay, let's look at the symptoms. I'll read more of the symptoms and then I'll read more about it. I'll then go and type in ALS symptoms, right, twitching, oh, my legs have been feeling a bit weak lately. And then I'll go onto the forums, and before you know it, that translates into 5 months of hell of me convincing myself that I have ALS because I Googled my one symptom, right? Now, I've done this time and time again. You all have, like, this is the biggest part of health anxiety, and it's hard because not Googling is really difficult, but it's the only way to stop the cycle. So I went through a phase, I think it was about 2 years ago, of doing something called worry time. So what I would do is, because I was Googling like 8 hours a day and it was completely taking over my life, I mean, I could not function, I would Google at any given opportunity. I would constantly be saying to my partner, I just need to go to the toilet a minute, I'm just going to go and do this. And I would go and I'd be Googling. As soon as the kids went to bed, I'd be Googling. If I was making the kids lunch, I'd be Googling. It was absolutely, when when I say I was addicted, it doesn't even seem, it was just like insane. So I know how hard it is, right? And even a lot of you might know this story, but it got so bad that my family had like a bit of like an intervention meeting, sort of like without my knowledge. And I was 25 at the time, I'm 29 now. They took my phone off me. They took my, I was an adult. They took my phone off me. They changed all of the passwords on the laptops, on their own phones. So I had no access, because they were like, this has to stop. She's deranged. And then I took it upon myself to, I would put my daughter in a pram when she was a baby. I'd walk down to the library. I would go down to my local library to Google. And I would lie, I would say to like my friends, like, oh, can I just use your phone a second to do so and so? I'd be Googling. I was absolutely deranged. Like it when I look back now, it's insane. But I was so addicted. I was so addicted to figuring out what was wrong with me. I could not sit there with my symptoms. I felt like by sitting there, something bad was going to happen and I wasn't going to catch it. But what did it do? It gave me years of misery. I mean, years. And it got so bad that I was hospitalised. Like, when you think about health anxiety, I think people think like, oh yeah, hypochondria. It landed me in a psych ward. Like, the symptoms I had as well, from the sheer stress, I mean, I'm talking, I was hallucinating. I had music blaring in my head 24/7 for about 4 months. I was having myoclonic jerks. I was tingling from head to toe. My digestive system was just all over the place. My body was literally falling apart. My liver was like failing. Like, my liver enzymes were like crazy. My blood test, my platelets were low. I remember like at one point my doctor was like, my bloods were like insane. But there was nothing wrong. Like, I had loads of investigations. It was my body was going insane. And this was all fueled by Google. Like, Google made everything a billion times worse. So I then got to a point where I was doing this worry time where I'd wake up in the morning. I'd wake up in the morning and I would give myself like 5 minutes of designated worry time. And there's this guy called Hal Elrod. He's a really, really great guy. He's been through a lot. He had a car crash when he was in his 20s, and he was told that he would never walk again. And he's got like a book called it's called the Miracle Morning. He wakes up at 5 a.m. and he does like a set of things before he starts his day. Really inspirational person. But one thing that really struck me in his book was that he said that he allows himself 5 minutes to feel any emotion in any given circumstance, whether that's fear, sadness, pain, frustration, whatever. But then he says, but beyond that 5 minutes, that's where, it's easier said than done, but that's just causing suffering, right? So it's about allowing yourself to feel the emotion, but then moving past it and thinking, right, well, what am I going to do in my day? And that's what I started doing. I would give myself 5 minutes to panic, to freak out, to ring my doctor, to Google, to seek reassurance. But once I had done those 5 minutes, I would think, I'm not going to read anything more that's going to change my mind. I'm not going to figure it out. Googling any more than this 5-minute period is just going to make me suffer. It's going to make my life a misery. It's not going to help me. So I've done my 5 minutes. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to get on with my day. As hard as it's going to be, I'm going to attempt to get on with my day. I'm going to still do the dishes. I'm still going to take my kids to the park like I promised. I'm still going to go and see my mum. I'm still going to do whatever. Yes, I might have like ups and downs during the day. I'm not saying that, you know, I kind of like did my 5 minutes and then I was fine. I was still very down and worried, but I wasn't going to give in to the health anxiety anymore that day. I'd have to wait until tomorrow. And sometimes I would find myself like, oh, come on, like I just want it to be tomorrow so that I can go and kind of like scratch that itch. But it was one of the best things I ever did. And it takes a really high level of discipline because, of course, if, you know, I've done my worry time and then 2 p.m, I have like a stabbing pain in my head, of course, in that instant, then my health anxiety is like, forget about it, you know, forget about that rule, just Google it. But I really, and I didn't, you know, sometimes I did, but I really tried to stick with it the best that I could because I knew that I couldn't go on living that way. So being a Googler is really hard and it's hard to stop it. I tried going like, well, I say tried, my family forced me into like the cold turkey method. And it really made my anxiety a lot worse. And obviously they didn't, you know, that wasn't their fault. But it made me, I felt like I was losing control. It was like taking heroin from a heroin addict. Like it was that bad. Like I had like withdrawal symptoms. I couldn't cope. So I'm not necessarily saying that that's the right way. But I think maybe like a more balanced approach is something like worry time where you allow yourself to worry, you allow yourself to Google, but you're in control. It's a controlled time frame, because otherwise it'll take over your life like it took over mine. And where did it get me? Nowhere. It just led to me ending up in hospital. So I just wanted to know as well that if you're going through this, like I really understand it. Like gosh, like it's the thing I understand like the most. It's hell on earth. Like it's awful. So let me know below in the comments, like, you know, how you deal with this, how it affects you. Because I know how hard it can be, and I always love reading, you know, your comments, because I can relate to so many of them. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already. A lot of you have been asking about my one-on-one mentorship. If you want coaching from me, there's not many spots left. I was very surprised how many people wanted to work with me, which was a really pleasant surprise. So I've had to really, I mean, at one point I was like speaking to like 6 people in the evening, and unfortunately it was just a little bit too much for me. So I only have limited spaces now on my Patreon. So I'll put the link below in the comments anyway. You can see if there's any spaces. At this point, it might be kind of like, it might get to a point where people have to wait for somebody to like finish with me for like a slot to open up. But do check it anyway, because you never know. If you want to find me on Instagram, you can find me at Sherelle Thinks. I post loads of stuff about health anxiety, so that can be quite useful as well. And you can also join my Facebook support group. It's called the Health Anxiety Community. So if you want to meet like-minded individuals and have a rant, that's the place for you. So I'll see you guys very, very soon. I will try my very best to upload more frequently, especially now in the new year. I'm just like, I'm so busy with like I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and like this age is like so hard. I have all of my like my one-to-one clients, so I'm doing my best. But I'll see you guys soon. Bye.